Hello, welcome to the European Open briefing for Monday, July the 23rd. I'm BoJ, currency analyst at xm.com, and we're going to be taking a look at what's happening in the currency markets today. It's not a very positive start to the week. There's quite a bit of risk-off sentiment following several tweets by President Trump over the weekend, as well as that interview where he criticized the Fed for raising rates too fast. So that he criticized the Fed once again in a tweet, accusing the Fed of making the US uncompetitive through higher rates and a stronger currency. He also accused China and the EU of currency manipulation, and he also had strong warnings against the Iranian president as well. So all of that led to strong demand for the safe haven Japanese yen. The yen itself was boosted earlier today amid reports that the Bank of Japan could be readying to make a tweak to its policy. This comes ahead of next week's policy meeting by the Bank of Japan. We're seeing other majors benefiting from the weaker dollar. The dollar has retreated sharply from one-year highs, and this has pushed up the euro to near two-week highs. The pound is also firmer despite growing doubts about whether or not the UK and the EU will be able to reach a deal on Brexit on time. The Canadian dollar, along with the Aussie and the Kiwi, are holding near to their gains from Friday. They only got a major lift on Friday following much stronger than expected retail sales inflation numbers out of Canada, putting the prospect of at least one more rate hike by the Bank of Canada later this year. But if you look at gold prices, they're pretty much flat at the moment, around $1,230 an ounce. So gold isn't really seeing much benefit from the weaker dollar and that risk off. If we now have a look at the major performers, we can see dollar yen being at the bottom of the table. At the top of the table, Kiwi dollar, pound also benefiting from the weaker dollar quite significantly, one of the top performers this morning. Let's now turn to the dollar index. We can see that quite big decline since last week from that one-year high of 95.65. It dropped to a near two-week low of 94.21 before rebounding a little bit. So President Trump is really lashing out at all nations this morning, mainly the EU, China, and Iran. So President Trump is on top of the remarks made on currency manipulation and criticizing the Fed. He also threatened to slap tariffs on all of the 500 billion worth of imports from China, once again raising the stakes in the trade war with China. And he also had strong comments towards Iran after Iran made some threatening remarks towards the US, and we can see the impact on all of that on dollar yen as well. Yen gaining substantially on the back of those escalation of trade and geopolitical tensions. We can see dollar yen has retreated from just above the 113 level it peaked at last week to two-week low. It dropped to around 110.75. But apart from that, there was a Reuters story saying that the Bank of Japan is discussing ways to make its stimulus program more sustainable, given that how long it's taking in order for Japanese inflation to rise towards the bank's 2% target. The Bank of Japan will meet next week on July 31st, and is expected to lower their inflation forecast. It's also possible that they might announce some policy change at that meeting following those reports we're seeing in the news this morning. But the Bank of Japan did step in the bond market, pushing down the yield on Japanese government bonds, and we did see the yen ease back a little bit after that. Let's now take a look at the euro. We can see the euro is benefiting benefiting quite nicely from the weaker dollar. It rose to near two-week high 1.1750 against the US dollar. We've got several factors to watch out for the Eurozone this week. We've got PMI, the flash PMI readings coming out tomorrow, and on Wednesday we're going to have the European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker traveling to Washington to have a meeting with Trump in order to try and diffuse the row over tariffs, as the US is still threatening to impose higher tariffs on European car imports. And on Thursday we've got the European Central Bank meeting as well. But for the rest of the day, it's going to be fairly quiet with just some housing data out of the US, as well as the Eurozone Flash Consumer Confidence Index, plus a speech by Bank of England's Deputy Governor. That's it from me. Thank you very much for watching and have a great day.